morning, Nigeria, and I make you welcome. This is Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television. I am Henry Igwebike. Let's start today with our newspapers, and from there, we will head on to our main conversation also for today. Do well to be part of what we do, have a say in what we say. You can find us when you reach us at EnterpriseTVnews.com. You may equally like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. We're very so honored to have with us joining us right here in our studios, Barrister Vansofili, a barrister, law, public affairs analyst, to see through all that we have from our newspapers and possibly right to our main conversation for today. Good morning, Barrister.
Good morning,
and thank you for your time.
Very well.
All right, so let's start today with the first daily on our desk. Daily Trust it is, and the big story. Federal government goes after certificate of forgers. On the top strip there, we have Kano Maradi Rail project to reach Katsina December. Federal government says, and equally, policeman killed as gunmen abduct guards in Kwara. Reform or risk irrelevance? Tinubu warns at United Nations General Assembly as represented by Kashim Shettima. And also we have other interesting stories here. CBN Naira abuse will raise a printing cost if, with a ... there. So I do not know if we are expected to fill in that space, but that's what we have from the Daily Trust, the newspaper. So let's start off with the federal government goes after certificate forgers. It's actually mind-boggling, Barrister, how that across the country, from military administration, institutions, to paramilitary institutions, to secretariats, ministries, and all, private, public, you see Nigerians with fake certificates. And the Nigerian government is saying enough is enough, and they would go after it. Do you think they've got what it takes, the know-how, to go after certificate forgers in Nigeria?
Well, if the political will is there, they can really actually go after them. Because I know that a lot of people forge certificates. Forgery is one part. A lot of people also impersonate, using other people's certificate to serve in the police, in the army, and other institutions, especially the police force. You understand? We've seen issues like that. Many of them, when they use these names, they have to sustain it throughout their service year. When they retire, they go back to their original name. Yes.
So they open bank accounts with those names?
Of course.
Then what happens to the original person's details? Because we all have one NIN to ourselves.
The way they go about it, because if you are, before the NIN came, and before all these issues of biometrics, and the other one,
BVN, NIN.
The BVN, all those, before all those issues came, a lot of people had already used it to be in the military, to be in the force, to be in the police, and the rest of that. We noticed that as early as possible. A lot of people, who went for those training using fake results, some using impersonating people, some using results of dead people who are already demised.
Yes.
You understand? So it's a very serious case in our country. And some people, they don't have the necessary requirement as at the time they want to join. Okay, so when they eventually, they use somebody's own to join, then later they turn around to look for a way out of the situation. So you see that it's a common thing. It's all over. Part of the people they are going to recruit to investigate these things, some of them also have fake.
So those who are charged with finding the forgers are themselves.
Yes,
complicit.
That's what I'm saying. So there should be a way out from all this, because it is a breach of trust. It's a breach of identity, and they make a mess of the system. How about university degrees? People get forged university degrees. People get degrees they never read for. Just buy it. When you go through records and you go through all the academic the respective offices in the university, you will see those results there.
Barrister, it's actually very funny. I would love to say this because I think it's very important. Yesterday, on our newspapers, Nyesom Wike's son was called to the bar.
Yes.
And he celebrated it.
Yes.
Now, on different social media platforms, people started asking, please, if you know this boy is your colleague in the law school, please provide a picture to show he was part of those who attended law school. And the person was actually promising ₦1 million to anyone who would provide. As I speak, no one has provided evidence to show that Nyesom Wike's son went through the law school. So how can that even be possible? Is it even possible with the law?
It's not possible.
In law school.
It's not possible. If you didn't go to law school, you cannot be caught over. It's not possible.
So why isn't people? why aren't people then provide evidence to show? At least there should be some time he spent some time with people and all.
They should go and dig more. I don't think that's possible. For the law school, no. That's not possible. The law school I went through, is not possible. I can't believe that one.
Well, I just hope that Showore will not take that as an assignment because it will really not spell good on the Nigerian law school if
it is important. It's important somebody take it as an assignment.
Okay.
So that they can get to the truth. But if you ask me,
yes,
if you did not go to law school, you cannot be caught over.
I just hope there won't be a ton of event actually, because it will really not be good.
That is why somebody should take. Yeah, that's why somebody should take it up and take it to a logical conclusion. For those who have doubt, for those who have doubt, so that can be cleared. I want to see the end of that. Because
I actually wondered if I went to school, at least I should have some picture to show. Okay, these are my colleagues, my friends.
Yes.
This is where we schooled and all. Someone should know you.
People should know you.
But when there's nobody coming out to say we know this young boy, then it's highly suspect.
When people see you in public space, he was my classmate.
Exactly.
You understand? We were at the law school together. We were at the youth service together or something. Somebody, you cannot be. It's only President Tinubu that don't have such.
Yeah, it doesn't from primary school to university.
Nobody knows anything. But as for issues like this, I think it should be investigated. Nigerians are good in this kind of investigation. I know that we'll get to the truth.
All right, we just hope that as we speak, someone is already doing the digging.
Very well, so they will do it. We'll get to the truth.
All right, so while we hope that is possible, the Nigerian government said they would use the Nigeria Education Repository as the conduit via which to find out forgers. I would love to know, is it even possible in a country where there's no technology that is efficient enough to make that possible? I just hope that one of these days the database won't lock down.
With biometrics now,
yes,
and with the way things are now, it is easier to fight this kind of battle now than it will be like before. Before, when you remember when even international passports. When you are going to acquire an international passport, they ask you to go and snap passport photograph and bring it.
Yes.
Then they will use it and sellotape on top your. So those times you have manual. There's no backup. There's no backup system integration. There's no integration. So what you have is just the file in the office, and then what you have in your hand. So. And that file is manual. It's not backup by any computer integration. Okay. So it's much more difficult at that time. But today, with biometrics and the rest of that, and with NIN, everyone is being collated into an integrating system. Then you can actually go around it. Okay.
All right, so let's move on to another story. Reform or risk irrelevance, Tinubu warns at United Nations General Assembly. Barrister, isn't it ironical that President Bola Tinubu is giving advice to the United Nations General Assembly when it seems to us as Nigerians that his administration is equally risking irrelevance?
I want to focus on the message.
Which of them now?
No, the president's message, not the president.
Okay, let's not bring it home.
If I look at the president, I would say the president does not have low cost to be saying such.
Okay.
But looking at the UN, looking at how they are going about, you have the highest echelon of the body in the United Nations that have the people whom you are taking decisions for are not members. Who you are taking decisions for are not members. Did you listen to Ruto?
Yeah, William Ruto.
The same thing this month, the vice president, that's our president now, because he represents. Yes, the same thing he said, the same thing Ruto said. You understand? The UN is going to lose relevance, and they know exactly what they are saying, because they look at the COAS. Look at where COAS is. Look at where the African Union is. Okay, the UN is doing the same. Unfortunately, doing that same. Did you see how some countries pulled out from the ICC?
Yes.
Over the week.
Yes. That's Burkina Faso, the Sahel countries actually.
The Sahel countries, yes. They pulled out.
Yeah.
That's protests. Okay. So for UN not to go that way, it has to open up the highest echelon, where the major decisions of the UN emanates from. He needs to bring countries into that cabinet. You understand? So that it will reflect, that body will reflect democracy.
But is it even possible? Is it ever possible? Knowing that it's becoming a little bit...
What is impossible about it?
Because the United States, for example, which should be carrying that flag, is not interested. You can see how that Netanyahu, if you watched when Benjamin Netanyahu was addressing everybody left the hall.
Yes, they are not interested.
Yes.
And I'm saying that lack of interest will diminish the UN. That's what I'm saying. They've forgotten that it's an international institution that administers sovereign states. All the states you are in, they are sovereign states. They can be on their own. They can tell you not to go to hell with you or whatever. They can do that.
So what happens to world peace then?
No, that's what I'm saying. So you need to ask the question first. How did the League of Nations fail? How did it fail? That's the first question you ask before you now ask what happens to world peace. Yes, because part of the problem that brought down the League of Nations, which led to the outbreak of the Second World War, okay, is exactly what is going on now. And the UN is not looking at it. They seem to have forgotten that the battle for supremacy today all over the world is higher than it was before. That technology has gained traction to the point where many countries are yearning to own weapons that will protect them against external aggression. And so many countries also want to become so economically powerful to threaten other countries by trade, by international interactions, by treaties and all that. So as much as then you have the big elephant in the room, terrorism. Yeah. Okay, look at Afghanistan today. In Afghanistan, the rebels sacked the government.
Yeah.
You understand? Now, if, for example, Afghanistan have capacity to have these weapons of mass destruction, would they not want to threaten the world and say they want to rule the entire world? So you can see that the threat is all over the place. Look at what is happening in Gaza. Look at Israel. Look at the whole of the Middle East corridor. That corridor and the level of... Yes. America and the UN is supposed to play neutrality. And they are supposed to administer peace along that line. But when they start to give in, when they start to support one side, the likes of South Africa gets to court against Israel. Okay? Then you see the polarization of world peace. World peace is now like playing chess. Anything can happen at any time. So the United Nations need to tighten up more. Okay, it need to embrace more. That's exactly what these African leaders were saying in that meeting. There's a need to keep the pride of the UN.
Or would we see a demise? Or would we see a demise of the United Nations and maybe a springing up of yet another association?
You see, if a demise happen now, it's going to be tough. You know, because it was easier to form the United Nations as at the time the world did, because the threat then was just, I mean, apart from Adolf Hitler and the
Soviet Union and
the Gulf War, and all those problems we had around the world then. The threat we have today from the likes of Al Qaeda, Hamas, the ISIS, even our own Boko Haram, and
not to mention the proliferation of nuclear weapons. King Jong-un.
That is what
finally owns warheads, nuclear warheads.
That is the greatest threat. That is the reason the United Nations cannot afford not to put itself together and confront the big monster. It is, see, they may look at it like as if the African leaders don't know what they're saying. But see, it's easy to lose relevance, especially when you are no longer bearing fruit. It's very easy. So the world must watch this, because sometimes America lack of democratic display in international scene also contributes to what is going on right now. I mean, the UN should promote democracy across the world, okay? And if they have to promote democracy, they have to also guarantee internal democracy in their own cadres and sections in terms of offices. So that must be determined. And so there's no country that is now too small not to be reckoned with all over the world. There's no country. Look at Congo, look at what's going on in Congo, Central African Republic, Somalia, and the rest of that. And you talk about world peace as if it's abstract. There's war all over the world. Is there peace in Nigeria? There's a report that came out 2 days ago that the northern Nigeria is the slaughter home of. It's now even in Gaza, they are not killing as much as they are killing in northern Nigeria by bandits and terrorists.
Very well. Even the statistics I saw this morning, about 11,000 people in less than 1 year lost their lives in Plateau.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So the killing in northern Nigeria is even as high as, I mean, where you have pure war going on. People are not dying as much as that. The war between Russia and Ukraine. How many casualties do we have?
Very true.
Compared to northern Nigeria, what you say there's peace. So the United Nations must listen to Ruto, listen to the president, our own president, those expressions made, take proper notes and make amends. Make amends. The world is not a global village. The world is not what it used to be when UN was formed. You understand? There are perspectives now. Things are different.
Well, I'm actually wondering if all of this is not as a result of the Secretary General we have now, Gustavo, I guess that's his name, is really a little bit not as hard spoken. I remember when Kofi Annan was there.
Yes.
He speaks, everyone listens.
Yes.
And now it seems like everyone disrespects him. In fact, he's not even permitted to enter Israel.
Yes. Yeah. There's a need to reform the United Nations. There's a need to reform the United Nations. I don't want to use the word restructure.
Well,
a lot of reforms. They keep hitting on that relevance, so that I don't know relevance. They are telling you the truth. They are telling you the truth.
All right, let's move on to the Guardian newspaper for today. Political parties or SPVs roll over rights of multiple dormant parties as INEC considers 14 more. Barrister, let's take a look at this matter. There are moribund political parties in Nigeria as we speak that do not have offices anywhere in the country.
Yes.
They don't have representatives anywhere in the country.
Yes.
All they have is what people would name or see as quasi-chairmen or whatever. It's not in existence. How much is this doing to multi-party system in the country?
Well, multi-party system have been adjudged by theorists to be the best form of party system under democracy. That I say in theory because the multi-party system in Nigeria hasn't really bared the fruit of democracy. You understand? Assuming we're not considering that all these parties, the INEC had just listed and they won't had offices, they had all the requirements. Of course, they had all the requirements before they were registered.
Yes.
But most of those requirements were just you know, false requirements that they presented just to gain registration. Most of those offices they claim were their offices, whenever their office, just present something. And because the people in INEC who do the inspection before parties are approved are also susceptible to corruption. Very highly classed corrupt men and women are the ones who go to make all these inspections. So if I want to open a political party today, I can call my friend in Kano, call one in Bauchi, call all the. I mean, I have my classmates. We're all in the law school together across the 36 states of Nigeria. I can call them and say, your chambers, we want to use as our party, and they will present it, and they will present it as party offices and all that and all that and all that. Before you know it, they have. It's not even across the country. One in each political zone, right? That's the requirement.
Yeah, that's the requirement.
So that makes it easier. So when they now gain what they call it, registration, they now start to look for a governorship candidate that is not happy with his current political party, that want to defect to them so that money will come. And so a lot of people used to do business. So that mischief and abuse, I stand with INEC that mischief and abuse must be checked. You understand? As much as it is the right of citizens to form associations and political parties and contest elections at every level, as much as it is their right, that right is also subject to abuse, and that abuse must be checked. You understand? If they do not have, some years ago, INEC had to deregister so many political parties. You understand? The deregister, the Third Amendment of the 1999 Constitution tinkered with that process,
yes,
and made it possible for INEC to deregister. So as it stands today, there's copious provisions of the Constitution and the Electoral Act that point to the fact that INEC have power and authority to deregister, because INEC is not just there to, it's a commission, okay?
Yes.
And the job of a commission, apart from conducting election, it also have regulatory authorities. Yes, it has regulatory authority to regulate the conduct of political parties and the rest of that. So these political parties that are defunct, that have no office anywhere, no chairman, no nothing, no seat in any of the whether state assembly, federal house of assembly, or whatsoever, and they are just there dormant, I don't think they should be kept. They are no going concern.
Well, but this is actually not peculiar to us. In the United States, the world know only the Democrats and the Republicans.
Yes.
And but I actually went searching and I discovered there are about 30-something political parties in America.
Yeah, there are, but see how they play their own. Their own, those political parties you see, many of them don't necessarily have to contest for the president.
Oh, okay. Oh.
You understand? There are other political offices within the state level, within the county, within, you know, different levels where they can have candidates and see reach their potentials. So if we have it like that, well, ours, we want to be able to have a presidential candidate. Now they will tell you that in the next election coming, there are over how many? This last election, how many persons contested for president? For the post of the position of the president? There are many of them, over 30 or so.
Very well.
You understand? So, because the people will just tell you that it's democracy. Everybody must be given chance and room. I agree. But to what end? How far? This room we're talking about, how far are we going to take it? Of course, people should be allowed, but I mean, you know, not to be allowed the political parties that have no background, nothing. Just one man owns it. He goes to Abuja all the time, looking for somebody that will, you know, it's not a good one.
Very well, it's not a good one for our democracy. And from that story, let's move on to 2027. Atiku courts Southwest votes Let me get the story very well here. 2027 Atiku courts Southwest votes pledges to unite in Nigeria. In yet another explanation, or they had it on the Punch newspaper where it says, I will protect Yoruba interests if elected president, which is sympathetical to what we have from the Guardian newspaper. Is Atiku being desperate here?
You know Atiku has been to all the political parties in Nigeria and made an attempt to start up one, the MPN or the MPM or something. Atiku has been all over the place. Now he's saying he's going to make Yoruba as well. I don't know what
yes. I will protect Yoruba interest if elected president.
I don't know what he's trying to say with that. I don't know what he's trying to do with that. But he's doing that because he knows that with the North alone, the North Central, you cannot actually win elections in Nigeria as president. Maybe he's trying to, that third region you need to negotiate. Maybe that is what he's trying to do. But the Nigerian populace, they know Atiku enough than he can tell them about himself. You understand? They know him enough that he can tell them about himself. Which agenda has Atiku taken seriously and push it vigorously and stay put? Atiku is diametrically different from Tinubu.
So you would prefer a Tinubu than Atiku?
No, Tinubu's case is from the AD to the ACN to APC.
Yes,
has been consistent.
Consistent at?
Yeah, no, it's consistent. He didn't cave in for. There was a time the PDP took over the Southwest.
Yes, very well.
He stayed put in Lagos. You know, that is a semblance of a leader. You understand? As much as I'm not a fan of President Tinubu, one of the qualities of leadership is consistency, faith and belief. Okay? You have an article that is incongruent. Is never stable is not focused. Article should have built PDP. Ensure that PDP bounce back. Ensure that, but if you don't have that resilient, people will also not be, people won't trust you too. It's supposed to be a solid, like the likes of Jerry Ghana in PDP.
But Barrister, this man has tried though. From 1993, he was supposed to be the presidential flag bearer for SDP. Yes. But Moshood Abiola took the opportunity. Yes. He actually left it. He said, go, and no problem. Yes. So he's been there for a very long time. Very
well. He also had won, he was also the governorship candidate for
Adama.
Before.
Yes, before he was made vice president with Olusegun Obasanjo.
No, it's been a long way coming. It's been a long way coming. But the truth is that if you look at politics of the Fourth Republic from 1999, okay, then you will judge him different, because between 1999 to date, he has been to virtually all the political parties in Nigeria, just because he wants to be president. Now that speaks a lot. There are people who will say what I'm saying is politics about interests and also all that, but politics is also about building blocks. If today you are here, tomorrow you are here, next tomorrow you are here, when are you going to build block? When are you going to
but can't we say so of Peter Obi, because he has equally moved from ABGA to PDP to Labour Party, and now he's considering the ADC.
Yeah, you can say so of Peter Obi.
Yes,
you can say so of Peter Obi. But one thing that Peter Obi have going for him is that he has a pedigree. He has evidence of one who have performed. Atiku does not have that.
Oh, okay.
Atiku does not have that. So what was Atiku trying to prove to us? Atiku was in charge of the economy, Nigerian economy, for 8 years. And look at what the economy is today.
As the vice.
20 years plus. No, he was in charge of the economy as the vice president.
Yeah.
You understand? The only thing he did then was to privatize. And that's the language you're not. Privatizing this and that. The likes of P2B, you cannot compare with Atiku. Because P2B have the resilience, he has the focus. His politics is not even about himself. It's people driven. You understand? He was talking about, the other day was talking about the fact that he went to a school to donate some resources.
Yes.
And when he was interviewed, he was talking about, he said, what is in his mind now is how are we going to train these children? How are we going to raise this, raise that, raise that? This is a man that don't need anything from this country. He doesn't need any resources, any whatever, whatsoever. Yeah. So those are the kind of people that you need. People who are looking at the society, the country itself.
And you sincerely think he won't change? Do you truly believe he might not?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't see him as a deceptive person.
Okay.
I don't. And so many Nigerians too. I don't see him as a deceptive person. Even if he has to change in the future or change to whatever it is he wants to change, at least for now, he's far, his politics and his posturing is far better than what we see around here. People, look at this government, for example, deceiving Nigerians, deceiving the masses and the rest of that. Said that the kind of things we hear and see that this government is engaged in is one that troubles the mind, really. The wastages that we're talking about, that if we can cut down on them, still exist. The massive corruption that is militating against the growth of this country is still there. The lack of empathy for the poor is still there. Just a few days ago, they said they've sent how many billion to people? Where are the people? So when you have that kind of, nobody want to stay under such a deceptive system where you are lying every day, morning and night, and the rest of that. Nobody wants to. People are not interested in that kind, because it puts everybody in under pressure.
All right, Barrister, just before we wind down for this particular segment, let's just take our last story. CBN, that's on Vanguard newspaper. CBN warns against Naira abuse, hoarding of currency. Barrister, I truly do remember. I wouldn't know if it was during the 90s, I guess the early 90s to late 90s, when then on TV, they demonstrate and tell us how to use the Naira.
Yes.
Ask everyone to get a wallet. Make sure your Naira is straight, is good, you place them very well. Ask the market women not to put it inside whatever it is. And now, the CBN has gone cold. Should we blame CBN for the mutilation of our Naira? Or maybe the National Orientation Agency that's not doing good enough?
Well, both and the people.
Yes, especially the people.
The sensitization should be all year round, okay? Sensitization should be all year round. And then the people too should be taught in their respective schools under civic. They were civic education.
Civic education.
That the Naira is a national symbol, is an emblem of the country. Then they are taught patriotism. But today, how many people are patriotic? Patriotism is not in the front burner. You understand? And the people are so disenchanted and disappointed. Okay? When you tell them about keep the Naira note well, be patriotic, they will tell you that is it patriotism that will chop. You know? The average Nigerian is about chopping. Chop. There should be decency. There should be discipline. Any country that discusses that is in trouble.
But why is it that the same Nigerians would, when they handle $1 note, they keep it so safe and ensure that nothing happens to it?
They keep it so safe now, because when it's inferiority complex. Yes, inferiority complex. They will keep it so safe. When they travel, they are so orderly.
Yeah.
Because most Nigerians, once they land in the Western countries, they are overwhelmed. First, they are overwhelmed by the environment. They are overwhelmed by the people. and they conduct themselves. You understand? But what we get, I mean, from the same, I took a flight from Atlanta to Qatar, then from Qatar to Nigeria. The same persons who we were all orderly.
Yes.
Went from US to Qatar, from Qatar to Nigeria, the same person. When we got here, and there was a little delay. Yes. People started scattering things. That even in my own country, people were shouting, you know, why will you delay? Everywhere is hot. Rowdiness and all that. These were things we couldn't do over there, away from our country. So I called some of them and said, look at your conduct. Just some hours ago, some 14 hours, 12 hours ago, in another country, we're all orderly. Now we are here, we want to shut down, break down this place. So we need to learn to be patriotic. And you see why a lot of Nigerians are not patriotic. It's also because the leaders are supposed to set the standard.
Oh, okay.
If you are patriotic, you will not embezzle money. You will not steal. You will invest in schools, education. Look at our schools. Sometimes I think that Nigerian citizens have been forced sometimes unnecessarily to do the impossible.
To be unpatriotic.
No, you have been forced to be patriotic by force, by issue come from within.
Okay.
Okay? It should come from within. People should not be coerced to love their country. People should love their country because their country too should give back, should make it easy for this love to happen. Because most time love is reciprocal. It's like a child that was raised in a home where there's no love, and now as an adult you are now demanding that he should show love. To who? As much as I am not saying the way Nigerians are acting with the Naira note and their national assembly, I'm not saying it's good, but I'm saying that the country should show the way, the leaders should lead the way, so that it will be clear when we want to punish a citizen. We're punishing the citizen on bad behavior, on conduct, that are unbecoming of a citizen. You understand? They're talking about tax now. I'm going to be paying tax, you earn more than $800, you're going to be paying tax as a company from next year. Above 500,000 naira, you're going to be paying tax and all that. This citizen you want to take this tax from, remember that the same citizens that are struggling now, when you go, because in countries where they pay tax, and when you get into those countries, you see everything orderly, you see airport, you see the wonders that this revenue that are collecting from the citizens, what they are doing with it. You see it, there are places in the world where they pay 24% tax, 26% in Ireland. There are countries where they pay 38%. France, education is free to master's degree level. The tax your forefathers paid is the one they used to take care of your education. So while you are now working, the one you are paying is the one that used to take care of the younger generation. Sure. That's so ours. This thing we are going to get into fully. How will the money and the funds be deployed? Because if we get into it fully and the fund is not deployed appropriately, that will lead to the revolution that is much expected in the coming days.
Very, very true. And this is to bring us to a story. Someone did social experiment. He was selling these flags that they usually put on dashboards and on keke and all these other places. And he had several flags of different nations. And it was so funny that Nigerians didn't even buy any of the green, white, green. They would rather buy that out of Ghana or United States or Israel than buy the Nigerian flag and have on their dashboards. And that's to show they are not so much interested in the Nigerian state itself.
Well, those buying Ghana flag, what are they buying Ghana flag for? Because, see, people that talk about Ghana is this, Ghana is this. See, that Ghana say, now Ghana, their money is bigger than our money. you don't even know how the value of their... Ghana redenominated their currency. Their money didn't get value because of one hard work or one intellectual economic policy or something. They just redenominated, and it's catching up on them now. You know, so that Ghana own, I don't. But each time you compare Nigeria and Ghana, I just look at them a lot, because you really don't know the kind of comparison you are doing. It's
Very
not
true.
It's not sustainable.
Yes. All right, so we would leave it at this point, and I hope that it will get better. And just to let you know that on our main conversation, we would have Emeka Madunago, and equally a barrister would be here to do justice to all that we have. That is when we return. Tinubu pledges peace and development, orders return of oil operations in Ogoni land. It's in a beat. Don't go anywhere. This is Enterprise Television.
The elections are around the corner. Before you know it, it will be 2027. But before then, for you to partake in the election, you must have your voter's card. And for you to have your voter's card, you must register. INEC has rolled out the drums. We call this program Continuous Voters Registration. And it is for you to register. This is to do that if you want to vote. And it's important that you take part in the process of voting. Just go there, give them your name and your address. That's all. And of course, they will capture you, take your picture, and that's all. You are done. Within 5 minutes, you are done. And after that, when the time comes, they call it claims and objection time. That's when you look at it. They will paste all the results or the names of those that have registered all over the places. You will go to the place you register, check your name that is well spelled, and the information you've given them correct. And that's all. After some time again, they will tell you that your voter's card is ready. You go and pick it. That is all. Be a good Nigerian citizen. Partake in the process, because it's a duty imposed on you by Section 23 of the 1999 Constitution as a good citizen. And you will be better off by voting, because you have your mind that, yes, you voted right. I'm Wale Ogunade, constitutional lawyer, human rights activist, and President, Voters Awareness Initiative. Thank you.
The highly anticipated book titled The Citizen Jones Selected Prologues is finally here.
This explosive new book takes you on a journey through the finest writing of the ace journalist and broadcaster that will leave you inspired and informed.
The Citizen Jones Selected Prologues of Volume 1 now available. Get your copy now.
For details, contact 0706 9637 935 or send an email to EnterpriseTV@gmail.com.
Citizen Jones Selected Prologues, a classical compendium of compelling arguments. The punching of jurors. In the hallowed halls of justice, where echoes of truth intertwine with whispers of despair, there stands Jumoke Alawode James, a radiant figure sculpted by the universe, with a beauty akin to a stallion galloping through fields of reckoning. Clad in the armor of eloquence, her voice pierces the thick veil of complacency, unraveling cases that cradle the very essence of Nigeria's collective agony. She stands a sentinel over a nation laid bare, beckoning it to rise from the ashes of its own dissolution, crying out for a redemption that dances just beyond reach. Next emerges Evans Ufeli, a sage, with a heart that beats in harmony with the rhythm of justice, an advocate driven by a fervent dream of egalitarian dawn. Each week, he unfolds a scroll of cases bestowed upon him by the wise rabbi, a craft woven with threads of profound thought and searing urgency. His lamentation for the plight of the people rises like a haunting melody, reverberating through a land where self-inflicted wounds twist the tendrils of allegiance into knots of a servitude, traded for nothing more than a pittance, a morsel of bread amidst the hunger of the soul. Then strides forth Emeka Madunagu, a linguistic maestro, armed with knowledge as dense as the forest, each word a carefully sharpened arrow aimed at the heart of injustice. He ventures onto this hallowed platform armed with solutions, a veritable panacea for the ail of his compatriots. Emeka unyielding locks eyes with the elite, unflinching in his resolve as he speaks truth to power with the fervor of a modern-day prophet. He advocates for a class suicide, a radical act of severance from the vines of greed that choke the very life of Nigeria, prescribing this sacrificial rite as the only balm for the nation's festering wounds. Now, we bear witness to Innocent Aduluba, a custodian of integrity, where honesty flows like a river untainted. His edges of sacred truth is fortified by the solid foundation of reason, delivering a symphony of clarity that dances gracefully along the social-cultural spectrum. Innocent, an oracle of the common people, channels their pulse, imbibing the essence of their struggles and transforming them into the language of the streets. His enlightenment becomes a lantern, guiding those lost in the shadow, illuminating pathways once obscured as he breathes life into the collective consciousness. Henry Igwebike stands as a watchdog, a vigilant watcher of the tempest that permeates the fabric of Nigeria, a land once resplendent with the vibrancy of hope, now adrift in the murky waters of uncertainty. With a heart heavy, yet buoyed by fate, he ponders the fate of this great vessel, once sailed by the spirits of unity and promise, now battered by the storms of discord and strife. What port shall it find amidst the turmoil? Where does the compass of its destiny truly point? As waves of cynicism crash against its hull, as the sirens of turmoil sing lullabies of disillusion. In this pantheon of jurors, each voice rings out a chorus, weaving the fabric of a new Nigeria. Sit, relax, and enjoy the show. The middleman of jurors.
My people, the elections are around the corner. Before you know it, it will be 2027. But before then, for you to partake in the election, you must have your voter's card. And for you to have your voter's card, you must register. INEC has rolled out the drums. We call this program Continuous Voters Registration. And it is for you to register. This is to do that if you want to vote. And it's important that you take part in the process of voting. Just go there, give them your name and your address. That's all. And of course, they will capture you, take your picture, and that's all. You are done. Within 5 minutes, you are done. And after that, when the time comes, they call it claims and objection time. That's when you look at it. They will paste all the results or the names of those that have registered all over the places. You will go to the place you register, check your name that is well spelled, and the information you've given them correct. And that's all. After some time again, they will tell you that your voter's card is ready. You go and pick it. That is all. Be a good Nigerian citizen. Partake in the process, because it's a duty imposed on you by Section 23 of the 1999 Constitution as a good citizen. And you will be better off by voting, because you have your mind that, yes, you voted right. I'm Wale Ogunade, constitutional lawyer, human rights activist, and President Voters Awareness Initiative. Thank you.
Thank you so very much for being back, and if you just joined us, you're still on to Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television. Let's head straight to our main conversation for today. President Bola Tinubu has conferred posthumous national honor of Commander of the Order of the Niger CON on the late Ogoni Four, Albert Badey, Edward Kobani, Theophilus Orage, and Samuel Orage. Speaking while receiving the report of the Ogoni Consultations Committee at the Presidential Villa, Abuja, Tinubu called on the people of Ogoniland to embrace unity and reconciliation after decades of division. He pledged his administration's support for peace, environmental remediation, and economic revival in the region, while affirming plans to resume oil production. The president recalled that the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited and NPCL was handed operatorship of the Ogoni oil field in 2022 and directed the National Security Adviser Nuhu Ribadu to engage stakeholders on finalizing modalities for restarting operations. The Ogoni Consultations Committee, chaired by Professor of the oil exploration in Ogoniland, has been suspended since 1993 due to protest against environmental degradation, which led to the execution of Ken Saruwiwa and 8 others in 1995. Let's get talking, people. And right here, I still have with me Barrister Sufeli. Thank you so very much for hanging on.
Very well.
Yes, and joining us is Emeka Madunago, journalist, public affairs analyst. Thank you so very much, Emeka, for being here.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
All right, beautiful. So let's get talking on this very important topic. It's key in the Niger Delta region. History, of course, it is. Students have read about this, but I do not know how much it has really gotten internalized by Nigerians, especially students.
Yes, it's been a long time coming, the dispute in Ogoniland, especially because the oil companies that operated along that region actually did not follow the environmental laws that are required and the environmental impact assessment provisions, and that polluted the environment when Ken Saruwiwa and others began to advocate for a better society and a better way of going about this oil exploration and mining and the rest of that. So because they did that also under the military regime, Ken Saruwiwa and others were executed in a very extrajudicial manner because they were not really given fair hearing and the rest of that. So that spiked off controversy and protests, unending protests. And since 1993, oil exploration has been suspended in Ogoniland. Under the Buhari regime, the presidency came up with a policy of clean up that area of the country, that part of the country, to clean it up and the rest of that. I don't know how far they went about that because I learned that nothing significant happened.
They actually did a shabby job.
Yes, nothing significant happened. And then, ever since then, now the president is giving awards to 4 persons and is following it up with the statement that sending the National Security Adviser to liaise with the community and the others so that federal government can resume. I said, this is a very wrong way to go about this issue. The teething problem and the very serious injury that the federal government inflicted on the people of Ogoniland has not been assuaged. Okay? the killing of Ken Saro-Wiwa, his family and his community have never been, there's no written apology from the FG. There is no compensation. There have been no reparation. You know?
But he has been conferred posthumously.
He has been conferred posthumously. With
CUN.
When?
By Bola Tinubu.
And just recently, and now I'm saying now. That's why I'm saying when. Just recently. He has been conferred and all that. Okay, but do you think that's sufficient to assuage the loss of the family and the community, and for his descendants and all that? That is now, the federal government is now, because of that award they've given them, is sufficient now to send the security, the NSA, to go there and start to, it will fail. The reason it will fail is because the federal government have been highly negligent. The federal government have been unremorseful, have used the people of Ogoniland, okay, and have used them and abandoned them, and now they want to resume using them. The federal government did not go through their farmland, have not rejuvenated the farmland, and they promised a cleanup. How much of a cleanup did they do in that land? How much of federal presence do you have there? How many institutions that belong to the federal government have you taken there? How much of development do you have in Ogoniland? Do they have roads? Do they have social amenities? Do they have all the things of life that you ought to have provided for them as an oil-bearing community? The next thing you hear them, they'll say, go to NDDC. NDDC is the one that should take care of that. When you go to NDDC, NDDC will say, go to the federal government. The federal government will say, go to the elders of Ogoniland. So, I pray for them. I pray for FG that whatever they are going to do, they will succeed. But it doesn't look like a place where you should go. We see, when you mess up someone or a community, and you have not done what you ought to do to restore them to who they were before you struck, and then you want to resume there again after so many years, just because what is important is oil exploration. They should watch it very well. That's why sometimes I say the federal government is responsible for most of the insecurity we have in this country, because of their insensitivity and the rest of that. Very
true. It's so obvious that silence cannot be masqueraded for harmony. Emeka, let's get into the rudimentary historical facts that escalated the problem. Yes, we truly do understand that environmental impact assessment was neglected, grossly neglected. But after the murder of the Ogoni Four, the chiefs, and of course, which led to the gruesome killing of Ken Saro-Wiwa, that further escalated the problem. So it's more like a rift between two warring brothers in that community, not in agreement. The last time Ken Saro-Wiwa was conferred with CON, the son of one of the chiefs, Badey, his senior son, said that that was grossly unjustifiable. Why should someone who killed his father be conferred with national honor, and that he would not be alive and see the region, resume a production with such grace given to Ken Saro-Wiwa? So do you think there would be lasting peace, knowing that two brothers are still at loggerheads?
Well, thank you. There is really there's nothing like oil production that can be successfully planned without justice. Craving justice was done to the people of Ogoni. When people talk about just the Ogoni 9 and the Ogoni 8 and the Ogoni 4, it just looks as if that's where everything started. No, it was a long time coming. Where is Colonel Paul Okuntimo, who boasted about, human rights violations in Ogoni? Shell now has been allowed to run away.
Yeah.
After they were accused of buying 1,000 rifles for the Niger police, which is against the law, because in the law, a private organization, a private entity cannot buy weapons for a security, a security agency. So, all of those things rolled in. The land has been spoiled, the environment has been, spoiled, and it was a long time coming. So, unfortunately, the people became divided. And let me tell you, that has been the history of oil exploration in the Niger Delta. Look at everywhere. Even talking about Barrister, going to his place, he is fighting for light up Ndokwa.